Some say wisdom hides in riddles, but here it stood in a basket of sweets, bright, round, and ordinary. A boy named Eli passed the market and paused at a humble stall that offered a single instruction carved on wood: take what you need, let the rest be. He felt the question tightening like a belt, waiting for his hands to answer. Eli was no pauper, but he was small and always hungry for more than food, more laughter, more attention, more of everything that promised delight. His fingers brushed a single sweet, warmed by the sun, and he imagined how many he might have, how his friends would envy him, how he might tuck them away. He left with one small coin and the taste of wanting trailing him like smoke. That night Eli wandered to the orchard behind his cottage, a place the elders said kept the village's small wishes. Lantern light pooled between trunks, and the air smelled of wood smoke and late fruit. He sat with his single sweet like a coin under a sky full of promises. He told the trees of his longing, and a hush answered as if the orchard listened for patterns of moderation. It is told that old women who tend gardens carry two lessons: how to grow and how not to take all at once. Eli remembered a line from his grandmother: measure keeps the house standing, greed lets beams fall. He folded the thought around his sweet like a blanket, uncertain whether it warmed him or weighed him down. When dawn brushed the cottages, Eli walked to the river with the sweet still in his pocket, imagining other hands reaching for it, imagining hoarding a whole secret store somewhere beneath his bed. The river moved on, unbothered by dreams. The world continued its small balances, steady and impartial. He tucked the sweet deeper into his pocket and turned homeward, not yet certain of his rule. Soon the village celebrated a harvest day when tables swelled with foods and sweets were passed like favors from one family to another. Eli watched as others piled treats into napkins and pouches, some with a secret smile and some with hands that shook from taking too much. The many plates made his single sweet feel both humble and enormous, and the old wooden sign in his memory hummed like a bell. A traveling elder stopped at the festival and admired Eli's single sweet, then offered him a coin for it and 3 more sweets in trade if he would bring all he could find. The bargain sounded generous and dangerous, like wind that promises to lift you and might also drop you. Eli tasted the idea: more sweets, more coin, a little store to call his own. The bargain teased like a mirror. That night, the elder's words pried at Eli's sleep. He saw his pocket as a cavern that could hold not one sweet, but a handful, then a sack, then a chest. Take what you need, his grandmother's voice insisted, and he measured need not in hunger, but in how his heart swelled at the idea of more. He turned the sweet over in his hand, as if it were a small map to himself, torn between the glow of getting and the quiet of having enough. He could go to the stall at dawn, buy more sweets and sell them, or he could keep the one and learn what fewer might teach him. The village is an old classroom that teaches in small exercises: a trade, a promise, a failure, a repair. Eli chose to wait and watch the morning light, thinking that the right decision might be quieter than the wrong one. When he finally walked to the stall the next day, a child had already taken the last of the sweets in a greedy sweep, leaving only crumbs and a whispered apology. Eli felt a sting, not because he had lost sweets, but because losing them made him taste his own impatience. He realized then that desire sometimes moves faster than the mind, and haste is a teacher of regret. The village elder Kairos, who kept coins and counsel in equal measure, saw Eli's trouble and invited him to a bench beneath the oldest tree. Kairos spoke softly: "Greed demands more than the world can give. Wisdom learns to measure the vessel." He did not scold, only set a small wooden box between them and asked Eli what he would do with the sweet, if it were his rule to guard the village's small things. Eli breathed and spoke. He would take only one sweet, he said, and he would give thanks for that measure, and if the village needed him, he would share. But he would not hoard. The words surprised him because they felt like a coin finally minted, hard and useful. Heroes nodded as if a shift had occurred, not in the world, but in the boy who held it. Kairos set the box on the boy's palm and told him that many years ago he had once taken more and lost trust that took a lifetime to rebuild. Tonight, Kairos said softly, you will be trusted to keep a supply of sweets for the needy. The choice is simple, take only what you need or let want guide you. The test was not about sweets alone, but about the shape of a life formed by small, repeated actions. That night, the box held a handful of sweets to be given to those who came hungry. Eli heard soft footsteps and whispers as the village turned inward. He kept one sweet for himself and left a coin where others would find it, feeling both the ease and the ache of restraint. When a neighbor came shivering and took the sweets with tearful thanks, Eli felt something inside him settle like stones in the riverbed. The single sweet tasted smaller than he had imagined, but it sat in his stomach like a lesson, enough, honest, and clean. Over the next days, he watched how others responded to sudden gifts. Some grew bold and generous in return, others suspicious and greedy. Eli learned that restraint does not shrink you. It teaches others how to trust you, and trust is the currency that outlives silver. Word moved like soft wind through the lanes. A boy kept his promise and gave to those in need, even when more might have made him rich. Some said he had more cunning than courage. Others said he had more courage than coin. It is told that when a boy chooses restraint, the whole village starts counting differently, and small economies bend toward steadiness. Neighbors began to ask Eli how he kept to such measures, not to mock but to learn. And he taught only what he had learned. Count what you need. Keep a small store for dark days, and return when you can. He found that explaining softened the pride of having less and turned scarcity into planning. The boy's small counsel worked like mortar between houses, strengthening structures that had long been loose. The elder who had once offered the dangerous bargain returned and watched the village's small economy with eyes that had known many winters. He smiled and said, "You could have taken more and wound yourself in a tighter coil of wanting. Instead, you made a simple law and watched it grow." His praise was quiet because he knew that praise too can swell a heart in the wrong way. As seasons turned, the village kept a small reserve of goods for lean months and shared extras more freely, guided by a rule few could remember being written, but many could feel in their bones. Eli's single sweet had become a parable. People told their children, a story of how modest restraint can anchor a community and protect its future. The old wooden sign now hung in the hall, worn soft where hands had rested, and people moved a little lighter because trust had been repaid with care. Eli's choice to take only one sweet became the hinge on which a quieter, steadier life turned. He kept his measure and learned that steady habits outlast sudden gain. Financial lessons: build small reserves, spend only what you need, let trust compound like interest, and remember that moderation scales into freedom. Carry this: restraint is not loss, but the seed of long wealth.